When Phoebe stepped out of a beautiful safari lodge and walked straight into tangible poverty, that's when Phoebe knew tourism had to change. Or she did. Phoebe, welcome to the Nifty Travel Podcast.
Thank you, Alex.
And one thing I always like to ask everybody is about your earliest memories of travel.
Okay. My earliest, I really loved to travel when I was young. And since I lived in the village, the only way I would travel was either walk to my grandmother's place, which was like 3 kilometers away, and spend time with her for a weekend or a week if the schools were closed, or be picked by my auntie who lived in the city. But the travel to the city wasn't as often as I would have loved it to be, because it required approval from my parents and all that, and also finances for my auntie. So once in a while, she would invite me and come for me with my other cousins, and we would get on a public bus and come to the big city that is in Nairobi, which was quite exciting.
Yeah, I bet. And did it give you a clue of what you might be doing in the future, or was that a longer road, so to speak?
It was a longer road, and I wouldn't say by then I had a clue that I would be doing travel today, because I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. But of course, you, as you've just hinted, you've been interested in many things on the journey to getting into the travel business, and I think uh, you you you've worked in social work and working with children, etc. Can you tell us about some of the things you've been doing?
Okay, I am a teacher by training. So my undergrad was education arts. But the most interesting thing is I didn't know I was being prepared for what I am doing today, because the project I chose while in my third year in my undergrad was oral literature among the Kipsigis. The Kipsigis is one of the communities, many communities that we have in Kenya, and that gave me a very good opportunity to interact with the locals and record their life and their history, which is what I'm doing today under cultural tourism. And then again, while I joined teaching for just a couple of months, I got a job far away from home. And while at it, I was still traveling with the students. I would organize tours with the students, which was quite exciting. So I think travel was at the back of my mind. And when I joined the NGO world, when I was working with children, I was traveling around the country, which was quite exciting and quite an adventure. And I think that is how my business was born, but in the subconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you think was there a particular moment where you said, actually, I ought to be doing this all the time?
Yes, that was when I was okay. I mean, there are two things. One, when I was traveling around the country, I would see, I mean, a difference in some of the destination where we had like the lodges, the camps, and the hotels. And just as I stepped out of those hotels, I would see tangible poverty. And since I was doing development work, I kept wondering, how can we connect tourism and development work such that the communities that are in these touristic destinations also get to benefit from tourism. So that was one of the things. And then the other thing is, when I was with these students coming from the US, and I would go with them to the village where we would spend like a week doing community work. It was quite exciting to see the culture shock and also the culture exchange between them and the locals. And I was like, I would love to do this, to see people happy through travel, the people who come into our beautiful country, and also the local people who get to interact with these people, and there is cultural exchange. And I felt I can do this forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as the communities also get to benefit and also the traveler gets to benefit. So it's a win-win thing, and it is quite fulfilling.
Yeah, but you also chose a very challenging year to begin, didn't you? 2020. We were all locked up.
I
Uh,
know.
was that? How did you manage that?
Actually, I was transitioning from my job because I was a social impact lead in a social enterprise here in the country, and my contract ended in March. But while it ended, I was already doing travel business as a side hustle. But that is the moment I said, I want to do this full time. Actually, I was on my way back to the country from Chicago, and that on my way is when the country recorded the first COVID case. And here I was saying I want to do travel full time. And I came, and after I handed over, I mean, like my job was over, I did my report. I was fully convinced I wanted to do this full time. And while at it was quite scary, and because I didn't know how long COVID would stay. And the first month, I mean, that is April, nobody is traveling, we are all locked up. Then May and June, my faith started wavering, because I was like, did I make the right decision? Because it looks like this thing will go forever. But I was so convinced I wanted to do this. But as it is human, I wavered a bit, and there is a certain organization that had approached to give me a job. But then after some time, I was like, okay, they would give me a big check, a big job. But is this what I want to do forever? No. And I wondered, okay, would the big check solve the problem that I wanted to solve? I was like, no, the big check would just be for me and my family. What if I just picked this uncommon path that will also give me an opportunity to impact more people, create jobs for other people, and also create an impact? And so I woke up and I wrote an email, and I declined to continue with the interview, because I felt I wanted to do something bigger than me, a cause that was bigger than me, and it didn't matter when the country will open up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in a way, you have received a calling to do something that you were really interested in for a very long time. So you didn't give up on your dream at all. You stayed and persisted.
Yes, I did. And I think my persistence was tested for the second time, because when the country was opened up by the president and there was local tourism, I started with one trip, a group trip for Kenyan moms, because I felt they had stayed in the house for long, and they needed, somewhere to unwind. And so I put a trip together, and I had people sign up. And 3 weeks too, no, 2 weeks too, I got into a terrible accident. And I remember the partner I was working with, who also does mom's events, she called me while I was in the hospital, and she was like, Phoebe, do we continue with this trip? I was like, yes, we are not canceling. I know I'll get out of the hospital and it will happen. And the most amazing thing, I went on that trip with a sling, because I had a broken arm. I had already cut my hair because the accident was really bad, but the trip was such a success, and it kept me going. So when that happened, and after that, I was able to do a lot of local travel and local bookings. I've never looked back, because I knew I was doing that for a cause bigger than I, both for the traveler and also for the communities that we serve.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, having looked through some of the things that you you put on for people. I just thought I've picked a few things out. It'd be nice to talk about. Now you mentioned Nairobi early on. Now I expect you have a very different picture of the city now. Now that you're an adult.
Yes.
So first-time visitors, they've got many choices in the city. I know I listed a few things like markets and museum tours, various historic sites. There's even a national park. It sounds very much like it's a green city. Can you kind of give us a feel for what we might expect?
Yeah, sure. Actually, Nairobi City is the only city globally that has a national park where you can get out of your hotel and in 10, 15 minutes, you are in the park watching lions and rhinos with Nairobi skyscrapers in the background. You can imagine how amazing that is. And besides that, we also have a very good forest called Karura Forest where you can walk and go to the waterfall. You can do cycling. You can have the nature walk or even a picnic there. And besides that, we have even the elephant orphanage, the giraffe center. There is a lot that Nairobi offers. And then there is the museum. Then there is also something that is quite exciting, and I've seen it with the guests, especially. Actually, it's not just the young ones. We call it the Nairobi nightlife and also the Nairobi public transportation experience. Because I don't know whether we have it anywhere else, but I have a feeling that we are the only ones who got that, where we have these buses with big screens, and they play loud music, and then immediately after every seat there is a tiny screen. So there is a screen above you and in front of you, and then a little one next to your seat, and they play global music, any music, you name it. And I've found it quite exciting when the guests request for that experience. And so you combine wildlife, you combine nature walk, you combine history, you combine the people, the nightlife, and also the food, because Kenya, we have diverse communities which speak different languages, and we have different cuisines, and it differs from one community to the other. And that is found also in Nairobi. So you can even come to Nairobi for work and not step out, but have an experience of almost everything in Kenya, except the beaches and the mountains and all that. But you have the wildlife right at the city center.
Yeah, sounds exciting. Well,
Yes.
the buses sound intriguing. If you like music, you might never get off.
Yeah. Actually, what we do, we normally organize, the bus comes, picks the guests from the hotel. And some of them, like the young ones, they want to hop from one club to the other. And others, they just want a night at night. Like that is the Nairobi City tour by night with the public bus. And it is quite exciting and it's quite memorable because you get to stay in Kenya like a Kenyan for a night or for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned elephants and giraffes.
Mm-hmm.
So they have. So there's an orphanage for elephants. Then, so are elephants under stress or in need of help?
Yeah, it's orphaned elephants that are rescued from different parks all over the country, and then now they come and they are taken care of from when they are very young. There is a rich history, I mean, or the other stories that you get to hear about these elephants. And the most amazing thing, the caregivers at the elephant orphanage, they know them by the name, and the elephants know them. And then they get to feed them with a bottle. They get to feed them milk with a bottle. It's quite an experience. And it only goes for 1 hour every day.
So eventually, I imagine the orphans get to go back to their They go back into the wild.
Yeah, when they grow up, as in, yeah. They come when they are babies. Maybe their mother died, or they were sick or something like that. Yeah.
So you mentioned a number of places that people can go and stay out on safaris. They're lodges, aren't they? So tell me a bit about them. They seem to be located in fairly remote locations. Tell us about how they came about and why you like using the ones you use.
Oh, okay. Yeah. As a company, we partner with lodges that are eco-conscious and they are people-conscious, and they have an impact program where whatever they do, they are people-centered, and also they are very, very environmentally conscious, because we want to make the experience both beneficial for the traveler and the community and also the nature. And some of them, we have in almost in every location, because if you go to Masai Mara, which is quite famous, we have a couple of them that we partner with that have a social impact plan where whatever you spend there, part of it, a certain percentage goes to the growth of the community. Like economically helping them access education and health, and also to build themselves and take charge of their lives. If you go to the North Kenya, which is not very common, and it's something that we are really selling and telling people they need to see the other part of Kenya, because most of the times they just hear about Masai Mara, but if you go to the northern Kenya, on your way, there are incredible mountains and ridges, and also different tribes that you meet on the way. And then there are so many conservancies there, community-owned conservancies and private conservancies, and you get to learn how much effort has been put to conserve the wildlife and how the communities have been doing it ages ago, like their connection to nature, to wildlife, and how today they are coexisting with nature. And as a company, we partnered with Laikipia Conservancy Associations, where we did a baseline survey to see the gap, the existing gap, and how we can close that gap, so that the communities that have taken their time, so many years to conserve the wildlife and also the environment, they get to benefit from the tourism revenue. And so we are now co-creating the experiences that they can offer on top of the safaris, so that they also are a part of this tourism, the tourism revenue. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been able to show that the local communities are are benefiting more directly than they used to be then.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's good, isn't it? Because if we don't look after both communities and wildlife, you won't be there tomorrow.
It is true. Actually, I say travel can never be complete without the people.
Yeah.
It's all about the people, the traveler, and also the custodians of the wildlife and of the environment, of the culture, of the history. And the current traveler has also changed the way they travel. It's more of, how it will impact the local and the host communities, and also how it will impact them. So it's a win-win situation between the host communities and also the traveler. It's no longer about the traveler alone.
So you've noticed customers are now asking for these kind of journeys?
Yes, and most of them, and we customize almost all our journeys, or rather travel packages, are customized to fit so that we enhance the guest experience and also ensure that there is an impact in every destination that we sell.
Well, it's good to know.
Yeah.
So there's obviously a great variety of experiences tourists can go on. You mentioned people can go on game drives, bushwalking, well, see boat rides.
Cultural experiences.
Yeah, so they get to meet the people delivering the tourism as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Actually, in Nairobi, there is something I forgot to mention that before you get out of even the city, you are spending like 2 or 3 nights here. You do the Nairobi National Park, you do the Elephant Orphanage, you do the Giraffe Center, you do the Nairobi nightlife. You also step away like 30 minutes and get to pick tea or coffee with the Kenyan farmers and get to hear the story of tea, the story of coffee, dress like them, I mean, cook with them, eat their food, listen to their story, have a drink of their, a drink locally made, and it is also safe, and also get to laugh with the locals. And that was one of the experiences that also guests have been asking. It's called the Agikuyu cultural experience that is only 30 minutes from Nairobi. And when the guests arrive, they pick the tea with the locals and share their stories, because there is that important element of cultural exchange. They do the tea tasting together with the local snacks, because they get to learn their snacks are different from our snacks, and they hear the history of this tribe. Then once they're done, they get to dress like them and dance with them, cook with them, do storytelling without hurry, and they learn from each other. And those experiences are the experiences that the guests go away with. They remember the man I picked tea with. He didn't have one hand, and he could pick tea better than I. How is that possible? And they tell such kind of stories, and it is quite exciting. And also these local people, for that, that moment or that period that we have guests, they get to make an extra income than what they are used to.
yeah. Oh well, it's good to get an interaction with the people directly. So you mentioned tea and coffee. Then obviously it's what Kenya is known for, and we like tea and coffee uh, in the UK. So are there very many plantations and farms that people can go and visit?
Yep, and they are very close to Nairobi city. That is why I think we mentioned Nairobi city is quite exotic. It's like it has everything. You just step out and there is the tea plantation. There is the coffee plantation. There is also flower farms around. So there's a lot of experiences that you can have just around the city.
Mm. So, but if people want to travel a bit further afield, what's the best way to travel around?
Mode of transport.
Yes.
Oh, how we organize, we have buses, like the tour buses, the safari buses. Like if you have to go to the national park, you have to use the Land Cruiser, so that it is a better vehicle for game viewing and all that. But if you're just going to the tea farm, you can use a bus. And so we organize all that. We put it together within your customized package, and you're picked from your hotel and taken back to the hotel after the experience.
Mm.
Yeah.
So trees are also very important, aren't they? So are there schemes around planting more trees?
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's been a lot with the corporates, with the schools, and also with a couple of organizations. There is always people doing the tree planting exercise. And we also have a tree planting day as a country. Yeah.
Well, it's very important, isn't it? Because we all want to breathe better.
Yes. Yeah. And that the forest, there is even a couple of, it's like 10 minutes from where I am right now. You go there and you forget you're in the city. It's got a lot of indigenous trees, and you don't even I mean, you don't even smell, I mean, the smell of the city or even hear the vehicles when you're in the middle of that forest. And it is, I mean, it's such a blessing for us as a country to have and it's not only that one, there are a couple of forests around the city.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ah, fantastic. So we've talked a bit about national parks, and of course Kenya is a very large country, and it has many national parks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think because people think of the most popular national parks? Um, is there a sense or an advantage to visiting lesser known parks?
Yes, there is. I have done safaris in the northern Kenya, where I said Laikipia, and most of the times, especially in those community-owned or private-owned conservancies, you'll find you're the only vehicle in the conservancy, and so there is less impact on the environment and also on the animal, as opposed to the popular, I mean, the popular parks where you hear a lion and you have 100 vehicles around that lion. So even I, as a company, we try as much as possible to educate the travelers on the places that they will have better experience and they'll have less impact on the animals and also on the environment. As much as we take pride in our, I mean, Masai Mara, because of the migration of wild beasts, we are also telling people after you've done Masai Mara, or rather, you don't have to really go to Masai Mara. You can also go to other places like Kipia or Savo, and especially like Kipia. It holds a special place in my heart because of the communities that we work with, and also how the place is just quite beautiful. And we continue, I mean, I love the work that is being done by the private and also community owned conservancies to ensure that we don't lose that beauty, and we have the rarest species of wildlife in that area.
Mm.
Yeah.
So there are many different kinds of landscapes to enjoy, like the savanna and desert. Is there if you like the big outdoors and you want to see variety, is there uh, an order in which a good order to see different landscapes?
I wouldn't say an order, but if you want to see different landscapes and you come, and that's why we keep our packages or rather our experiences quite customized, we are able to show you that. And depending on how long you are in the country, you can see all those landscapes from the lakes to the mountains to the savannah to the desert up in the north. We have the desert and the only lake in the desert, which is called Lake Turkana, that has a history of the origin of the man. And then we take you to the mountains, that is Mount Kenya. There's also Mount Kilimanjaro. And then you go to the coast. It's all different, but it depends on where you begin, because you begin from Nairobi, which is central, and then we take you maybe to the highlands, then to the lakes, then from the lakes to the savannah, from savannah to the ocean. And we got beautiful, pristine sandy beaches.
Yeah, I've seen some of the pictures. It looks absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, they are.
Now, people are talking more these days about slow travel.
Mhm.
Something that you believe in encouraging people to perhaps see less but experience it deeper.
Yes, I would highly encourage that because I have seen both where guests come and they have very limited time and they want to see so much. And so they get so rushed. And so most of the times we discourage that kind of itinerary because you will be in almost every place, but you'll not connect with any destination because you are here for a night or 2 nights, then you jump on the vehicle, you go to the other. before you even acclimatize or get to learn about the place, you are on the vehicle or on the plane to the next. So I would really encourage slow travel. Just come, experience maybe one destination or two. If you have more days, like 10 to 15 days, then you can, you spend a place for 4 nights, then you move to the next one, you spend for 4 nights, and then maybe you have Nairobi for 3 nights, then you will carry memories. And I have seen that the groups or even individuals that take that kind of amount of time, they connect with the place in a very, very deep way, as opposed to people who jump from one destination to the other, ticking off the bucket list. And I
Yeah.
have also experienced that because I've spent a place and I'm like, wow, I get to learn about where the food comes from. I visit the garden of the Lord. I interact with the gardener. I ask questions. Then in the evening, I am with the chef. I get to learn, why do you cook this and not that? Then the next thing, I step out of the lodge. I meet the community. But if I'm there for only a night or 2 nights, I can't experience that. So I
Yeah.
am a huge advocate for slow travel because it gives you an opportunity to leave the destination a better person than you came in. And also, to the people that you find there, they also get to know you and learn. I was in Masai Mara 2 weeks ago, and there is a team that had gone to the same lodge. And when I went there, I was interacting with the guide and all that, and he's like, he saw my photos and he's like, oh, these people, I spent time with them here for 5 days, and I know about their children, about what they do, and what they like, and what a better story than that. And I
Yeah.
know that was for the local, and I know even the travelers said the same. And when I posted the video, the travelers were quick to say, "Oh, that is our Dominic," and like they created a memorable experience, and not just a memorable experience, a relationship was built because they stayed in the place longer than other than just coming in and leaving. Most of the times, if you come in and leave, you don't even get to know the people, even their names. Yeah,
No. Yeah. You can go too quickly, can't you?
yeah.
And in a way, of course, you're giving people an excuse to come back.
Sorry?
You're giving people an excuse to return because
Yeah, uh-huh.
they still have things left on the list.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's very true.
That's a very strong, yeah, a very strong marketing tool. You shouldn't overlook. So, are there particular seasons that are good to come, or are there different reasons to come at different seasons?
I would say again, if we, at least the travelers have changed the way they travel, but there are those who are still stuck on coming at, the peak season. We have the peak season because of the migration of wild beasts, but those who come during like the low season or the green season, you get to experience more. The only thing that you don't get to experience is the migration of the wild beast. And sometimes I prefer you travel during the low season because again, it encourages you to travel slowly and experience more. And that time, you are not many vehicles in one destination, and all of you struggling to see one experience, to have one experience, or even to see the lions and putting pressure on the wildlife and all that. So I advocate for traveling where you don't have to rush, and you get to experience more. And of course, you get to pay. It is friendly. It's more pocket friendly to travel during that time. But so
Mm.
our experiences are spread throughout the year, depending on when the guest wants to travel. But we encourage more of travel during the low season.
Okay. Now, I've met a few people recently who like watching birds or would like to, to see birds, are there particular places where it's easier to do that?
Yeah. We have different places with different species of birds. This reminds me of some guests we had early this year, and part of the family, it was a family travel, they loved the birds. And so when they came back to the city, and I was having lunch with them as they share their experience, and they were like, oh, so and so kept us in the park for hours watching a particular bird, and we're telling him we don't love birds. Yeah, but they appreciated that we have all these species of birds, and we have different places with different bird species. Yeah, even a lake that is just an hour away from the city, you get to do even a walking safari. You take a boat to go to the Crescent Island, and on the Crescent Island, you do a walking safari. And when you're doing the walking safari, you get to view lots of birds. But also when you're on the lake, when you're doing the boat ride, you experience so many birds. And also at the lodges that you get to stay at, there's so many birds around that area. And we also have bird sanctuaries, like places where, you can do bird watching.
Yeah. Good. Sounds exciting. So, of course, Kenya's part of East Africa. So, some guests, no doubt, want to visit multiple countries in the region at the same time. And I guess it's easier because there's a general visa system, isn't there, for East Africa? So, do you offer options for people who like multi-center?
Yes, we do. Yes, we've done several groups where they come, they land in Nairobi, they do Masai Mara or they do Savo, and then after that they fly to Rwanda for gorilla trekking, or they fly to Uganda for gorilla trekking, and also other experiences in Rwanda. And then after that, if they want a beach experience, they can do a beach experience in Kenya, or they go to Zanzibar. So we work together and do like a long circuit within East Africa. And there are others who feel the safari in Kenya is still not yet enough. So they cross over to, after Masai Mara, they cross over to Serengeti, that is in Tanzania. And they do more safari. Then after that safari, they can go to Zanzibar and fly back home. Or they get from Tanzania, they cross over to Rwanda for gorilla trekking, or to Uganda. Yeah.
So, talking about Zanzibar, is that a coming destination, or a destination that not many people think about?
I think it depends on the preference. If they want the beach, there are those who want to go specifically to Zanzibar because of the beach, and also the spice tour, and also the food market, because they have a very good food market at Stone Town. So there is the Stone Town, the historical Stone Town, and also the food tour in the evening, and it is quite an experience. But if they just want the beaches and the dolphin watching, we got that also in Kenya, that is in Diani. And then if you want to go to a place that is also close to my heart, it's called Lamu, the Lamu Island, where there are no vehicles, and the airport transfers are by speedboat. And that is quite an experience. And it is also for slow travelers. You go there for 4 nights, you don't even feel like you like living, because you're very connected to the locals, because the only way to move from one point to the other is either by speedboat or just walking. And walking around, it gives you an opportunity to learn the history of the land, and also the people, and their way of living, and they get to know you, and they are very friendly. And it's one island that crime rate is very low. Yeah.
So, well, history is is a very important part of tourism. There's a lot of emphasis on it
Yes,
countrywide.
yes, there is. Yeah, there is a lot of history in our coast, that is in Mombasa, Fort Jesus, and then there's also Lamu, and also in our museums. We have very incredible museums with rich history of Kenya before colonial, during colonialism, colonial time, and also even after independence, and different tribes who built what, and how did the Kenyans, which Kenyan tribes fought for the independence, and who fought the colonialists, all that, and also their way of living, and how Kenya gained independence, what currency was being used when, and who are the collaborators, who are the people who fought against there's all that, and also the food, and the agriculture, the economic generating activities across the country. There is a lot of history in our museums here in Kenya, in Nairobi, and also when you go to the other cities, you get also to learn more about the rich history of our country and also East Africa at large.
Oh, wow. Well, you mentioned walking. Are there many hiking opportunities for those who are feeling a bit more adventurous?
Yes, like especially in Lamu, it's easy to walk around, and it's safe. So when you go there, you just walk from one place to the other on that island, interacting with the locals, or just chill out with them, and you learn a lot when you hang out with the locals, and it is quite safe. Yeah, yeah, at the
Mm,
Lamu island. And
yeah.
then you can also do like a Dhow cruise with the locals. And I can mention like one we did in the middle of this year with a couple that had come from the US, and the wife is called Africa, and she had never been to Africa. So it was her first time. And we wanted to make it quite memorable because she was celebrating her 50th birthday. And we had the sail of the boat handmade with her name on it, handwritten, and happy birthday. And then the captain of the boat, who is a local there, put some flowers inside the sail. And as soon as we got into the boat, he was like, "We got a surprise, get your cameras ready." And I had the camera ready, and the guests were just watching. And as he opened it out, the flowers fell off, and she saw her name on the boat sail in Lamu, that is in the middle of the ocean. It was quite beautiful. And the fact that the person went out of his way to customize that experience means a lot.
Wow, that must have left a real impression.
Yes, it did. It did for both the captain and also the lady and also the husband. They didn't expect that, but they were quite impressed, and they keep now sending referrals to us because of that personalized experience.
Yeah, very good.
Mhm.
Now, I also see that there's an opportunity, if you like heights, to
Oh,
do ballooning.
yeah, it is. It is. We have so many mountains and hills, and as a person, I love hiking, and I organize when I'm not quite busy. I have a hike every month where I hike with other friends who love hiking, and it's such an adventure. And there are others who come all the way just to do the hiking of Mount Kenya, which is quite scenic, and also other small mountains.
And for those who'd rather just go up in a balloon, you can do that as well.
Yeah, we do the hot air balloon, which is quite epic in the Masai Mara or in Amboseli. You can imagine yourself in the balloon, and in front of you is Mount Kilimanjaro, and down there is a group of elephants or some lions, or it's quite epic. Yeah.
And well, of course, that also is going very slow as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is going very well. Most of the guests, they come and they're like, "Please include a balloon experience," and you're like, "Yeah, you need to do that." Yes.
Incredible.
Hmm.
So I wanted to ask about tourism generally in Kenya and Africa. How do you see things developing in the coming? You know, we're at the end of another year. Um, Things have moved on a lot since the pandemic days. People are traveling more normally. I suppose, firstly, would you say that people are now traveling differently now? So maybe they were 5 or 6 years ago. And yeah, how do you see things developing?
I would say people are traveling more, and now that there is a lot of information online and things like this podcast, they are more aware on what to look out for, the experiences, and they are gaining that interest to travel. And especially the pandemic, I think it opened people's minds and interest to travel more because it looked like life is quite short, and you need to get out there and meet other people in the world, get to know other people, enjoy more experiences, because you never know about tomorrow after we had been locked up by COVID. I have seen that even with the local tourism. It has increased since COVID because people realize, well, you can be locked up in a house for months. So
Yeah.
now that you're not locked up, you better adventure. You better get out there, meet other people, know other destinations. People are traveling more after COVID. And I think this trend will continue increasing. And people are more aware and are also want to travel more responsibly and also travel for impact. I have seen that coming up quite well. And I think it's the awareness that is being created by the industry players that you can travel more responsibly and also create an impact as you travel.
And are there any aspects of travel that you would like to see happening?
Other I would say, like, yeah, well, in the development world, because I transitioned from the development world, and that is something we are working on, and we are partnering with a couple of development organizations now that the aid, or rather the grant, has shrunk. I mean, and it's becoming quite difficult for people who are doing charity work to be able to continue with that. But now we are partnering with them and telling them how we can co-create the experiences so that people get to know how the locals are solving their own needs. And at the same time, they learn from them, and also the communities learn from them. And at the same time, they get, because the guests will, of course, pay for that experience, the communities get to benefit from that. And so we are working together with the development organization to enhance their donor visits so that it is not just a one-way experience where the donors come and they sit and they listen to the problems of the community, and if they are touched by the problems, or rather the communities appeal to their emotions, they leave a donation. How about creating an experience that respects the communities and also gives them an opportunity where they feel they are respected and they don't have to share about their problems, and in a way that is not dignifying, but they can share their strength, because to be honest, they have strength. They know how to solve their problems, so they get to a point where, an experience that allows knowledge exchange. And so the traveler, the donors learn from these people, and also the people get to learn from them, and opportunities open up, because there could be a guest who wants to make a contribution or an impact, and then they get to meet these youths who are solving problems in their communities, and they have these great ideas, and the only challenge they have is access to financing. And this guest has not only the financing that he can help with, but they can also help with knowledge and scale that idea. So I'm really hoping that we can get to a point where now the development world also looks at tourism as a tool for change and for mutual benefit for both the host communities and also the donors and the travelers.
Well, that's a very optimistic way to look at it, and let's hope we can do more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been amazing having a chat to Phoebe, and do appreciate you making the time to have a chat to us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Alex. I really enjoyed having this discussion with you.
No, you're most welcome.